Greetings, everybody! I am the Starving Martian, and today we're looking at Mars Attacks Counterstrike Part 4 by Topps Comics. And the word that best describes this issue is new. Inside we'll find new artists, new characters, and a new focus on the dark humor that Mars Attacks is so well known for. So, we're going to dive right into it, but first I'd like to point out this cover here. Features one of my favorite characters, Sergeant Dosk. That's him right there. He's got ants to the left of him, soldiers to the right, and there he is stuck in the middle with you. So you'll probably remember him from earlier issues when he was just a private, the green private in multiple senses of the word, who emerged a hero after destroying a queen ant and annihilating the hive and being the only survivor of that. And as we're going to see today, he has a knack of being the last survivor, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, so why don't we start at the beginning. This issue is entitled The Lord Haw Haw Gambit. We'll find out why later, but I just refer to it as Mars Attacks Rush Limbaugh. We start off in a nuclear submarine, which we've seen before earlier in the series. The captain here has gotten news from the president that that the president needs these command codes that he's got, these antivirus codes. Now, if you remember from our last issue, the Martian motherships were all infected with a virus that played out just like Pac-Man, but instead of dots was gobbling up computer space, information, and all that sort of thing. And the Martian spaceships are in danger of shutting down and crashing. So Commodore, the military leader, has issued a proclamation that unless the codes are given over to him, these spaceships will all be pointed at all the major Earth population centers, so that when they crash, they will take the greater bulk of humanity with them. So the President Newt Gingrich, has decided to give the Martians the codes. After all, nobody wins, then, everybody dies. It's just not a good thing. And so the captain orders his subordinate here, Rager, the man who came up with the virus in the first place, to give him the antivirus codes. However, Rager kind of freaks out, declares that it must be a Martian lie, and that victory will not be achieved until every last stinking Martian is dead. And so he runs out to the top of the submarine here and opens the hatch and drowns himself, bringing the access codes down with him. Now, as soon as we see the Martians, you might not have noticed before, but as soon as you see the Martians, you could tell we got a brand new pack of artists with us. And it's a bit jarring. I'm not sure, initially I wasn't sure how I felt about this. I was just starting to get used to the art style of Mars Attacks. I was just starting to really like the way they drew the Martians, and then they went and changed it on us. But this isn't bad. They've made them look like a cross between the Topps Martians and the Topps Comics Martians, that is, and the trading card Martians. They've added some bits here, like you can see the little bits of ganglia here. That was missing before. The top of the head is more brain-shaped now than it was, but they still have the same glowing red eyes. They still have the same dagger bone teeth. And this one's a little confusing, this picture, only because this is Sergeant Dosk, our hero from before. And he's tannish now. He was green when we first saw him, and as we'll see later, he's green again. So I don't know what happened here, whether Martians change colors based on mood or something. More likely than not, it was just a coloring accident. But either way, it can throw you for a loop if you're expecting him to look one way. Not only is he a different color, but he's done by a different artist. But yes, that is our friend Dosk. He's gotten quite a mouth on him. His experience earlier has taught him to disrespect authority. It's taught him that those in charge are looking out only for themselves and that they couldn't care less about their soldiers. And as we'll find out, he is not far from the truth. But he's been given an assignment here to track down Rush Limbaugh, who is putting out anti-Martian propaganda. Now, in a world where Mars has attacked, I don't know how much anti-Martian propaganda one really needs, but whatever. And we're introduced here to a Payak, who we will see throughout the rest of the series by the name of Eyeballs. Yeah, that's his name, Eyeballs. And anybody want to guess what his favorite snack is? It's kind of weird. It would be like if my name was Hershey Kiss or something. But my parents weren't that cruel. Yes, he insists they're quite good when they're fresh, but he warns you to look out for the lenses. Apparently, I don't know, maybe they catch between the teeth. So he wants our friend here to go out on this mission to plant a mind control chip in Rush Limbaugh's head that will allow them to make Rush Limbaugh spout pro-Martian propaganda instead of anti-Martian propaganda. And however you feel about the guy, love him or hate him, and there appears to be no in-between, you have to admit his followers, who readily call themselves ditto heads, would just follow along, most of them. Oh, Martians are our friends now. Okay. So, we get this 2-page spread here of the Martian battle arena. Here's Comodath. He's got a floating platform there. He's going full Episode 1 Star Wars on us. And pretty much just going over stuff we basically already know. Like I said last time, this comic book series is very wordy. There's some comic books you could breeze through. These ones will take some time to read, and that's a good thing. It gets a full amount of story out there. I love this one Martian in the corner. Why is he looking at us? Seriously, what's going on in this side of the room that he has to suddenly turn and stare at? I don't know. And in this shot here, Comodath looks hilariously like Skeletor. Now, with my larger cranium, I will finally defeat He-Man! Anyhow. Oh, and this guy here has figured something out. We're not told what just yet, but he says I must run the model again. Using the randomizer, if the results hold true, the Martian life on Earth can be transformed. Dun dun dun. Alright, so back to our submarine, where we find our friend Mr. Regan is definitely dead. Drowned, gone, shaken off this mortal coil. And apparently Earth's hope of survival has gone with him. Speaking of hopes for survival, we're reunited with Colleen McKay. Forgot her name for a second there. When last we saw her, she was impregnated by artificial insemination with a Martian child. And had just learned that usually the carriers of these Martian children do not survive childbirth. But walking around talking with another human, she suddenly goes into premature labor, and the baby is born stillborn. Yeah, she has a miscarriage, which she survives, however the child does not. Alright, now to Rush Limbaugh. And I would love to know if any of these people in the background actually resemble any of his crew from back in the 90s. Being that he's more of a radio person, I couldn't tell you, but it'd be interesting to know. I hear the Martians want my head, he says. Well, they don't scare me. I've gone toe-to-toe with liberal Democrats. Good old Rush Limbaugh. Now, even in the middle of a alien apocalypse, he can't drop that, but that's what makes him who he is. So, where's Limbaugh? It's just hilarious seeing some of these real-life people in this ridiculous scenario. So, the Martians attack, but unfortunately, giant ants come bursting in too, oddly enough. Timing seems a little bit coincidental. Dusk decides that because of all the chaos, they don't have time to implant the chip. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, the chip The whole thing is called the Lord Haw Haw Gambit because apparently it's named after a British trader from World War II. I don't get the reference. I do not know who Lord Haw Haw is. If anybody watching does, kindly let me know. But yeah, there's Dosk again. As I said, now he's green, so hard to keep track. So they kill a bunch of people, but they don't know if they got Limbaugh or not. And so they're just making their way to their escape saucer because things are going south quick. Unfortunately, the saucer is taken out by a missile, and they're surrounded by soldiers, and they're all going down. And he realizes that there was an ambush. They've been betrayed, but by who? So another explosion, leaving our friend Dosk here, the sole survivor. And the army's looking around at their victory. I love this one guy here just sitting there like, fire. He seems kind of Beavis and Butthead to me. That's just so random. Anywho, so Dosk is watching and he hears our source, codename Eyeballs, gave us some good intel on this. And he realizes that Eyeballs is the traitor. And now he's going to return to expose and to kill him. So we'll pick up with him next issue, but getting back to Colleen, we do see she did indeed survive. I think it's kind of humorous that they're still using these hospital wrist bracelets. And so she told the good news and the bad news. The good news is the miscarriage did not permanently damage her reproductive system. The bad news is that means when she's fully healed, they could try again. So yay. So the president informs the Martians that the codes have been lost, that there's no chance of getting the virus off the ships. And so the other Martians want to know, what does Commodore plan to do about this? And he tells them that they plan to do absolutely nothing. That things are moving exactly as he's foreseen. And the council gets upset. The council demands action. And so he says, okay, you want action. Very well, since you insist. Guards! And he has the entire council placed under house arrest. Very similar to what they did to him at the end of the miniseries preceding this. And so now Commodore is in full power of the entire Martian structure here on Earth, with nobody left to oppose him. We end with the submarine again, the USS Miami, where a search of Reagan's quarters finds a photo of his brother, who was killed in the initial Martian attack. And underneath the photo is a disk containing the antivirus program. And so there might be a hope after all. The Martian ships might be saved, and with them the entire world, actually, populated centers. Let's just hope we're not too late. And that's how we close off issue number 4, Counterstrike Part 4. We only have one more part of Counterstrike to go, guys. And so we're going to be wrapping up this storyline, but not the Tops Mars attacks. There'll be more to come after that, but that'll be in the weeks to come. Until then, I hope you've enjoyed. Keep a watch in the skies.